Good morning, it's Dave at All Things Important Reviews. Please smash that like button, please smash that subscribe button for more awesome watch content. Quick little wristwatch check. I've got my Guanquin Homage 100-meter water resist. I think you know which watch this is homaging. It's homaging a Longines Hydra Conquest. A beautiful watch and a beautiful little homage. Only a couple of little niggles on the bracelet. Right, now I've been meaning to get one of these watches on the channel for quite some time, and regrettably just before I made this channel I had sold my original watch from this range. I've actually had a multiple of them, but the latest one I had a couple of years ago, I sold it because I just felt it was a touch too bulky, which I regret now. But I saw it in a deal, this one, and I just had to get, I just had to pick it up. Now, it is a Mudmaster. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a Mudmaster is, just get rid of that. You don't need to see that. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a Mudmaster is, it's a brand of G-Shocks by Casio that have been around for years now that have additional features and capacities and resistance to mud, dirt and so forth than typical G-Shocks have. Now this is the GG-B100. These are basically military grade timepieces. They look just like a military watch. Now, the Mudmasters have a classic look that I just love. I absolutely love the look of them. And even though they are big, bulky bad boys, I really like the overall aesthetics of them, basically. Now, this one, just get it open. This one is a bit smaller, a little bit smaller than the previous models that I have had, which is good because they are big, thick. I mean, this is nearly 20 mil, this watch, 20 mil thick nearly. But I just wanted one as a beta. Wow. That definitely looks the part. Now, this one has, as well, with the Mudmaster range, to varying degrees, you get different sensors. Now, personally, I'm not going on crazy missions into the outback or the jungle or the bush or whatever, where I would need this type of functionality. But, so for me, it's just a kind of, I'm just showing it you that if you do these types of treks and want that kind of functionality, you can get it for a decent price through Casio. And again, I don't think there's any company in the world that does them like this. Now, this will have stuff like a barometer, you know, the altitude, the pressure, temperature. It'll have a thermometer. It'll have an accelerometer where it'll actually measure, you know, the speed that you're actually increasing. It measures distance. You can hook it up to your smartphone through the Bluetooth. You can get GPS functionality, and it'll actually track your mission log. So it'll tell you the distance that you've walked. You activate a button here, you can turn it on, and it'll tell you all the details of your mission, the altitude, the temperature, the distance, the speed, where you actually traveled, because it's GPS, you know, tracked through the smartphone. Some of them, I believe, have the GPS functionality anyway, but this one has it through the smartphone. Now, and it also has the triple resist, the resistance to vibration, the resistance to all types of shocks and other stuff. I mean, obviously, with just taking this to the gym or, you know, going for a run or whatever, you don't need a watch like this. I'm getting it really for the appearance and just to bring it on the channel. But if you did want that type of functionality, it is out there. Now, this one is the GG-B100. Okay, now if you know a bit about Casio naming conventions, if it doesn't have a W in the reference for the watch, generally it won't have multiband, because W means wave, which means wave scepter, which means the radio waves for the watch. And it is true that this watch does not have solar, and this watch does not have multiband. Now, that's a negative for me because I love multiband and I love tough solar. But this watch is slightly smaller than the two Mudmasters that I've previously had, the GWG-1000 and the GWG-100. And by the way, the GWG-100 is the one that I sold just before this watch, and that had multiband and tough solar, but it didn't have the sensors. This also has, if I can't remember if I told you, it also has sunset and sunrise. Oh, they have a compass as well, typically. So, there's so many things that they have that, is in there if you really want to use it and you want that type of watch. I think they look fantastic. I think this watch looks brilliant. Now, one thing I loved about it as well, they've made this watch super legible. The dial is super legible. The indices, I love the 9, 12, 3 and 6 indices. It's sporty, it's military-esque, and it is actually a military grade watch. I do believe the British military the British Army do use this watch. So, it packs, it's got 200 meter water resist, and I am probably going to take it to Thailand in the next few weeks. Now, as I said, it doesn't have, this particular model does not have the multiband or solar, so there's a battery inside. Why they've done that, why they've not put solar and multiband on this, but they did on the previous model, I don't know is the answer. I don't know if there was some type of problem trying to get all them functionality to get the power in from a chargeable solar battery. I don't know if that is some reason why that has made them put an actual proper quartz battery in here. I don't know is the honest answer. We'd have to ask Casio to find the answer for that. But my feeling is it must be true, because some of the other, well, my feeling is it must be possible to put at least most of these sensors and technology in a multiband and in a solar watch, because they've done it on previous models. So I don't quite know, but I don't think they had all the sensors that this one possibly has. But anyway, let's get it on the wrist. Now, it is a big watch. It's going to be, I'll just get you the actual spec. This is the nominal spec off Casio. So off Casio, it's 55.4, overall diameter, 53.1. I don't know where that'll be measured from. I'll have to measure that. 53.1 on that dimension. And it is 19.3 mil thick nominal. That'll be to the top of the bezel. So by any stretch of the imagination, it's not a small watch. But the previous one I had was even bigger. The previous one was like 55 this way, 56.5 this way, but was slightly thinner. But again, the thinness, see, that 19.3 mil will be to the top of the bezel. Now, I've been told off a few people that this feels a lot lighter, feels a lot better on the wrist, and let's just feel it. Wow. That is a big boy. There's no question about it. That is a big boy. I mean, the band is tough to go with it. It's not a super supple band. I mean, it stays in place. I mean, that is definitely a big boy. But it definitely looks the part. They come with, these models come with like these wings, these plastic wings, which won't be for everyone. They can get a touch sweaty below, but they do kind of help the watch stay in place better. I refer to these plastic, I call them wings or wrist supports or whatever you want to call them. Let's have a look at some of these functions. Barometer, temperature. That'll be recording, as in like record the mission log, start recording if you hold it down. Sunrise, stopwatch, timer, alarm, world time. So, and there'll be loads of other stuff you can press and get access to. I mean, ultimately, I'm not gonna, I mean, I'll show you them, definitely. But I'm not personally going to be using the barometer and all the altitude and all that stuff. It's just, I just would not do that personally. I don't have that type of a life where I go requiring that information or being interested in it. But it's interesting for the people that want it. You have that capability in watches in the Mudmaster range. So I'll get this on my wrist. I'll get it tested. I'll give you the feedback. It'll be interesting to see how comfortable this is compared to the GG-B100 that I had a couple of years ago and sold. I felt that watch was just too big. But now, I think at the time I wore watches tighter than I do now. I mean, if you was in the military and you was going to go to, you know, Iraq or wherever the war, the current, you know, military mission was being held, you probably would wear the watch pretty tight on your wrist. But at the time, I used to wear them super tight, too tight really, and I felt as though it was too bulky and too sweaty as an all-day wear. Now this may also be too bulky as an all-day wear, but I'm going to wear it pretty loose to see if that improves the comfort, basically. But in all these Mudmasters, due to the size, they're never going to be as comfortable as, you know, a typical G-Shock that's a lot smaller. Because you're just putting a lot more plastic on the wrist. It's got this carbon core technology. To get all that functionality in, they've had to make the watch pretty thick. I mean, in the future, maybe they'll be able to make them a lot thinner. I don't know. Hopefully they will as technology improves. But at the minute, these are big fat watches. They're not dress watches. These are a military grade watch. So I hope you enjoyed this little video and a little discussion about the Mudmaster brand. I'll get it on my wrist and I'll get it reviewed for you. Thanks a lot. It's been Dave. Have a great day.